Can you guys open to page 41 in the packet? And while you're doing that, we'll have our quick look at the calendar. So today is our review day for test number 1, which is coming up on Tuesday. All right, so our very next class is the test. Nice thing about having the test on a Tuesday is that you have 5 days between now and then to make sure that you know exactly what you need to know. Anyway, that's what's coming up. Any questions, general questions before we talk about the test? Yes, Peggy.
Are we allowed to use calculate? So when you pack out the test, you use calculation?
Good question. You can use calculators for the whole test. Yes.
So just to clarify, on this paper, like I can write pretty much whatever I want and I'm cheating. Like, so if I want to write definitions and like problems, notes and everything, everything's fine.
Everything is fine. So we'll talk about the reference sheet that you're allowed to bring in, but you can write anything you want on that reference sheet to help you. Both sides. Other questions? Typed is fine. It can be 11 by 8.5. Okay. All right. So let's we'll talk about all that stuff. Let's first just run through some of the topics that are going to be on the test. First, note that you have a plagiarism packet. We will talk about that later today, but everybody should have one of those packets that says plagiarism at the top. Okay. Preparing for the test. So here are the subjects that are going to be covered. Can we go to Sam in the back? Order of magnitude. Thank you. Blake? Thank you. Jocelyn? Okay. Those were the topics that we covered on the first 4 classes. It feels like this whole course has been about voting, but it was 4 classes on voting and 4 classes on what we were talking about as numerical literacy. Don't forget to go back and review some of that stuff. You'll see examples in the sample test problems. I'll point you in the right direction today, and that's what you'll spend most of your time doing today in class. In terms of voting, let's see. So we'll go to Justin. Okay, so this is the one track with 4 different ways to find the winner. What was the first one we talked about? Thank you. And can somebody name a different method? I had Borda. Thank you. Condorcet was one of the fairness criteria. So we had 4 different ways to find a winner, and the Condorcet criterion was one of these kind of parallel track things to see if this was fair, how we found the winner. So the 4 fairness criteria, one of them was the majority criterion, the next one was the Condorcet criterion, and then we had 2 others, the monotonicity and the independence of irrelevant alternatives criterion. Lots of vocabulary. Hopefully we're getting more comfortable as we head into the test about how to answer questions like did the board account method violate the Condorcet criterion? Like, I'm hoping that that is a question that you guys could process through if I gave you a preference schedule and asked you that question. All right, we'll go to Doug for next part here. Go ahead. Okay, so we had those 3 different techniques, and I guess it's not listed here, but it's certainly fair game. Becca had asked about it today. Last class we talked about different rankings, not just finding the winner, but also finding who is second place and who's third place. And we actually have, like we have our 4 different vote counting methods, but we had 2 different kinds of ways to rank. One of them was the extended way. That was the very natural thing that we did. And the other one was the recursive way where you have to run elections again and again. So ranking is definitely going to be on the test. All right. Resources for number 2. We'll go to Johannes.
You can use a calculator and a one sheet of sheet one piece of paper, no larger than right level, and you may write on both sides of it. It can't contain any material written or typed by you, but should not be a photocopy of the textbook or class.
Okay. And just in terms of resources, I want to point to one other one, and that was the very first page of this packet, which was this voting method summary. I put a sort of bullet point list of everything we talked about for voting. I guess the ranking stuff doesn't appear here, but you've got a compact place to go if you just want sort of one-stop shopping. Now, I don't want you to bring this to the test with you, but if there's information on here that would be useful to you, I just wanted to put it in one place, okay? So make your own reference sheet. You can include any of that or none of that. It's up to you. All right, and then down here after resources, we have some advice. Kelly? Thank you. Iris? Okay, so we start at 11 o'clock, and we'll start the test promptly at 11 o'clock on Tuesday. Our class ends at 12:15. I'm free after 12:15 if some folks need a little bit of extra time, and I think that this room is available. The difficulty is if you have class that you have to go to, like right at 12:30, like I can't let you leave and then come back and finish the test another time. So if time is an issue for you in terms of math tests, we got to make some alternate arrangements so that we're not put in that awkward position of either you deciding you're going to go to your class late or me deciding, I'm sorry, you can't leave and then come back. So talk to me after class. If you're concerned about that, maybe we can let you start a little bit early. But I am willing to stay a little bit late if people need time and they're able to stay late. Okay, let's see. And if you have accommodations or other special testing needs, talk to me today. On the next page, go to number 5. I think we're up to Brittany. Okay, so just to be clear, there's nothing due from you on Tuesday, but there is homework due Thursday, and it is going to be very easy for you to forget that. So for the record, everyone in this room at this moment in time knows that there is an assignment due on Thursday. And you'll note that part of the assignment involves reading the plagiarism handout that I just gave you. And well, some of the questions in here involve the plagiarism handout that I just gave you. Is it clear what is due and when it is due? Rosalind? No, this has nothing to do with the project. This is just your regular homework, but it's due on Thursday, and it's going to be easy to forget that there's homework due Thursday because we won't talk about it on Tuesday when you're taking the test. In terms of the project, again, I think I had pointed out that here at the bottom of this page, page 42, there is lots of good information on the projects. I promise you we will never read this to each other in class, which means it's on you to read it outside of class. The list of potential projects is a few pages away. It starts on page 44. There are a couple of topics here. I think we had just mentioned briefly what kinds of forms the projects might take on. You could write like a letter to the editor about a small city governing structure. That's one of the projects. You can write something about the UN Security Council, although I'll say that there are some phrases in here that won't make sense until the class after the test. So if you pick that one, things will become clearer. But you should be able to get your hands on most of these project topics here. So if you want to pick one and then just start working on it right after the test, you are in a good position to do that. You could talk about the 2000 presidential election in Florida and write a paper about that. So lots of different topics you could pick from. lots of information for you to read through on your own about the projects. We'll talk about them a little bit more in class after the test, but just go back to that calendar and point out that even though it's still a little ways away before it's due, it is coming. So if I were to scroll down to here, there is a plan for your project due on March the 8th. It's not too far from now. What the plan entails is one paragraph where you say, this is the topic I have chosen, and I've done a little bit of research, and I think I've got some good sources, and I found them here online or here in print. Just give me some sense that you have started to think about one of the projects. It's really just my way of kind of giving you guys a kick in the pants to get you going so that we don't wait until the day before it's due. And the day that it is due is April the 3rd. Okay? April the 3rd feels very far away. It will get here. You should have a project done before then. I have had people who have taken this class again because they just didn't do the projects. And I think that's not a good reason to spend your time and money and other resources repeating a class. So that project is worth 15%. That project is worth more than the test that's coming up on Tuesday. Just putting it out there. So if you have time, maybe start thinking about the project. Any questions on any of that? Yes. Yeah, so the way it'll work is you'll turn the project into me by that date. I will grade them and I will hand it back to you with grade and with comments. And if you would like a chance to improve your grade, you have 1 week from when I hand it back to you to make revisions and address the comments that I gave you. And I don't even average the two grades. I just give you a brand new grade. So you could go from a 50% to 100% if you turn in a 100% project the second time. Okay. All right, so speaking of the projects, I will just point to one of them here. Number 9 says conduct an election. That's where you find a group of at least 20 people and you pick a topic, like a question that you want to ask them, and you make them fill out a preference ballot. Guess what you guys are going to do right now? You guys are going to fill out a preference ballot because one of your classmates has decided that that's the project that they are going to do. So if you guys could follow the directions here. I know there are extras at each table. Pass them over towards this wall here to my left. And then we'll come back together once we've finished filling those out. Okay, so we talked about that. And then, so what I'd like to do is go back to the sample test problems. Maybe somebody can help me find these. Anybody have any idea what page? Thank you. Okay, so on page 39 are the sample test problems. So we have a solid 1 hour from now, and I would like us to use the 1 hour working through these sample test problems. In the beginning, you'll be maybe brutally reminded that we did stuff before voting theory, and there are some questions about it. And the last thing I want to say is about these videos that I've made. So I think I mentioned that I made a video of me solving every one of these questions. What used to happen during this review day is I would stand up here and go through all of the questions in front of the class, but that just never seemed, I wasn't comfortable with it because there were some folks who understood Part A really well but needed a lot of help on Part B, and some folks were the other way, and so usually there's a collection of people who are just like, that's an easy question, go faster, and another collection of people say, slow down, that's a really hard question. So I made the videos so that you guys can right now in your groups work at your own pace. You can jump around and pick which questions you want to focus on during the hour. And then you can go back at your leisure and check out these videos. And I know that some folks have been having trouble watching my videos online, going through the URL that I put in Moodle. So I have come up with a different solution. I actually emailed people. Did people get an email from me yesterday? So I've decided to create a YouTube account. And if you want to access my YouTube account, just log into your GCC email. You'll find an email from me yesterday. And so I will pull up my GCC, there's my channel, GCC Math Winokur, that's me. It's I've got 5 subscribers and 54 views. We're going through the roof. Just watch for me on the YouTube homepage soon. So what you will find is a whole collection of videos. So they're kind of all merged together. So there's a 108 and a 117, and all my classes are here. But probably what you guys want to do is go to the playlists And this is actually one of the links in the email that I sent you. I will make this a little bit bigger, and you can see 117 sample test number 1, and there are the problems, 1 through 5. So for example, if we started here on this one, and get bigger, and we'll fast forward just a little bit. Do I have likes enabled? I didn't disable anything, so maybe I do, I don't know. There. So you'll hear me and you'll see me and it fills everything out, and
You feel famous.
I'm not famous yet, but I'm getting there. Somebody told me I should put advertisements on my YouTube videos so I can make some money. I don't think we'll do that. But anyway, every one of the problems that you guys are going to start working on here, I have made a video for. I just want to say it took me a long time to make those videos. I have other stuff I'd like to do besides making videos of like 117 problems, but I made them. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not even looking for gratitude. What I am looking for is people to use this resource. So if you think you might find it useful, go check it out and then give me some feedback. I give you guys a lot of feedback. Give me some feedback here. If people find them useful, I'll do it again for sample test number 2. But if people aren't using them, there's no problem. I just won't spend my time doing that in the future, okay? So use it, don't use it, it's up to you. Just know that it's there. It's now easy to get to because it's on YouTube, so we shouldn't have any technical issues, especially the Mac users, I think, had a lot of trouble watching my old videos. And then let me know if you find them useful. And then I'll make them again if they are, okay? Any questions on anything before you start the sample test problems? I am intending to continue to post the videos on the Moodle link. That same URL that I gave you will still work. So if that's been working for you, keep doing it. But I'm going to try to post every video, including the one that I'm making right now, up on YouTube after class. All right? Okay. So I'll put flags on the table. Just raise them if your table gets stuck. There is an answer key at the back of the sample test problems. And let's see how far we can get.